An important precondition for the vessel's stability is that it is watertight. The stability calculations assume that doors and hatches that are supposed to be closed actually are closed. If a door or a hatch is left open, it means that water can flow freely into the vessel. And water flowing into the vessel reduces its stability and it can capsize and sink. Looking at the GZ curve, this means that when you have an angle of heel where an open door will allow water to flow into the vessel, it means that the righting arm goes directly to zero and you have no more stability. So keep doors and hatches closed at sea when they are supposed to be closed. It also means that ventilation shafts to spaces below deck, tanks and etc. should be placed high up and preferably at the center of the ship. That is best for the stability. Another factor that affects your stability in a negative way is what we call free surface moment or slack tanks. If you have liquid in a tank or a hold, it will flow to the low side if the vessel heels over and will then make the heeling moment even stronger. Water on deck that can wash about on deck is also to be seen as free surface or slack tanks. It is very important that you're familiar with the dangers of a free surface moment because it can reduce your stability in a dramatic way. Slack tanks can be seen as having your G, your center of gravity, shifting upwards, reducing your GM, and as a result of that, also reducing the righting arm. So there we have the righting arm curve without slack tanks. With slack tanks, it doesn't look as good. Another factor that can damage your stability, and this is especially for smaller boats, with the superstructure forward, if they have a large aft trim, in this case you have a lot of fish on deck, you have a lot of wet nets on deck, it means that you have very little spare buoyancy at the aft part of the vessel and the safety margins are smaller. So a lot of small fishing boats that have had a really good day out at the fishing grounds have sunk for this reason. The boat is stock full of fish and you have a wave coming in like this, fills up the deck and down she goes. And best case is you're left clinging onto the bow, which is just above the water. This means that your GZ curve, your righting arm curve, has very little range in this case. If you heel to one of the sides, it has much of the same effect. If the boat is loaded in such a way that it heels over, it will means that you have less stability margin to that side. So if you have a list to port, it means that you can't take much more heeling moments to port before you capsize. Towing, using of crane, having heavy equipment on deck. All of these factors mean that you have large loads, high weights, high up on the vessel. This means that your center of gravity, vertical center of gravity, moves up and you get a smaller GM, smaller stability, and the GZ curve gets a smaller range. So you go from a good case, the green curve, to a not so good case, the red curve. Ice accretion on the ship's sides and superstructure of a vessel can happen when you have the right or actually the wrong conditions. Cold seawater, cold air, lots of wind, and it means that ice can build up on the superstructure very quickly. And this also adds a lot of weight high up on the vessel. The center of gravity moves up, the GM gets smaller, and also you have a smaller range on the GZ curve, like that, plus you have less freeboard because of the added weight. And icing has caused a lot of vessels to sink in Arctic areas. Very dangerous. Over time, vessels are changed and modified. You put on board new equipment, and in the most cases, you add weights. Everything you put on deck is normally contributes to moving the center of gravity upwards. So over the years you put on a lot of stuff, most of it is high up on the boat. As a result, the G shifts upwards. Extra equipment, extra weights also causes the ship to get heavier, so you have less freeboard. So all these small changes over time can cause your stability, which originally was good, to be severely reduced. If you're in any doubt about your stability, or if you are doing larger changes, you need to do a new inclining test, and we will look at an inclining test a little bit later. Accidents are very often caused by there's multiple factors that contribute to the accident actually happening. For instance, you can have a lot of cargo on board, you don't have a lot of freeboard left, this reduces your stability. You have lots of fishing gear on deck, this clogs up the wash ports, so you have water sloshing about on deck, causing free surface movement, slack tank effect. Then you have a big wave breaking over the side, you've left the door to the wheelhouse open, you have water ingress into the hull, you lose stability, you sink. It's very rare that you put such a big strain on the boat that it capsizes directly. It's more common that you, by a number of these factors, you reduce the safety margin so much that when something unexpected happens, the boat doesn't have the safety margins, the spare stability to withstand that final drop.